it's me again, your favorite Roblox developer that tries to make a great game on Roblox. Well, considering at my last video that I kinda talked about it, what I planned and what I was trying to do, if I'm honest anyone even watched it, considering just 11 people did, well, yeah, shout out to those guys that actually took the time to watch it. Considering it, if you have no idea or no clue what I'm talking about or what this video is even about, well, don't worry, I will talk about more about this considering I missed some major things out. So, recap time. In Fallen Kingdom were you and some couple of other players trying to survive. So well, you will go around the map, loot some stuff, and then bring it back to your base, and in the nighttime you need to protect yourself from some bunch of enemies that are trying to kill you. Simple as that, can it not get, right? This is the most simplest way to explain this game and what's even about, and right now what I did in the last 2 weeks, I was currently working on the map building. Map building is obviously important in Roblox and I took a long time to do it. Well, pretty long time, 2 weeks actually, and oh man, there was a lot to do. Considering it not because I'm a solo dev, it's also because about this. This is the map on the paper and this is it in the execution. If any player for some reason still doubts it, well, zoom right here in and you're gonna see a little familiar thing you might have seen in other games, the spawn. Well, if you're a game dev or any player, you kinda realize how large the map is and how much I have to build. So yeah, it doesn't look like a plain field image. To not waste much time anymore, we start with the first area of the game, or location. The Crusaders outpost lies in this specific area, primarily here. So I wanted to show you what I built if I wasn't stupid enough and recorded anything of this what I did, but I did some couple of screenshots, like this was the first generation walls that I replaced quickly with those ones that you're seeing that are larger, brighter, and you can stand on them and shoot down at the enemy. These wall stairs that are obvious, that you the player can go up. This, why do I have to explain this? The gates, and I planned that the enemies can destroy your walls, but I wanted also that the game starts with walls destroyed, but I don't add them right now in because I have to script the entire repair system for it to work. So now moving on from these walls that no one cares about to the inside or the inside interior of the entire thing. So they are composed of 4 buildings that have their unique purpose. Well, you might ask yourself again what their purpose is. Well, before we start with all of this, I have to tell you now that I kinda plan out for a 5th building in the game, what I'm trying to do, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about this in another video, but for now we're gonna start with the first building. The building's location is right here, and if you don't know for some reason what a barrack is, it's simply a point where soldiers are resting in and sleeping. But simply saying for the players, it's a means to respawn in the game if they died. What other than that has no other uses and purpose. If I could show you any footage of it what I did, but I again forgot to record anything that I did. So considering there's not much to talk anything about it, let's start already with the next building. The smithy's location is right here, and it's a building that's pretty hard to miss and pretty obvious. I at first started building on my own, but then I realized I suck at it, so I just went to this pre-built Roblox castle map that's, I don't know, firstly tried to put my game on, but I realized this is pretty not much working on it. So from that point onward I just chose to make my completely own map, and I think it was the better choice considering that otherwise it would have not been what it is now. So I just literally took this building, copy pasted it, just removed all other parts that I previously added in to build the Memeories in the first place, then just readjusted it, rescaled it and fixed everything so it fits perfectly. You might say this is just laziness, but I say it's a perfect management of time considering I would have wasted so much time trying to build a Memeories that would look bad. So what does this building do? Well, I thought you can upgrade your stuff in it. And now comes the most obvious question player would ask, what can you upgrade? Well, I didn't thought really much about it considering it, well, let's say I don't know how I really implement that. I will do that in the scripting phase of the entire part. But for now we're gonna move on to the next building of the game. The tavern is this building in the bottom right. It's pretty obvious and not to miss, and obviously it has a unique purpose to it. It acts like a little shop, and this is the only building in the game that wasn't made by me. It was made by one of my friends that tries to improve his Blender skill, let's say. And yeah, with him working on Blender and I making my part of the map, he helped me a little bit out. Well, in the end it looks pretty good though, and to my honesty it perfectly fits into the game. It has a lot of detail, it's built just perfectly for being a tavern. Well, you might now ask yourself what the entire purpose of a tavern is. Well, I thought it out it would be some sort of shop where you can like buy healing stuff and that stuff. But the trader, the dude that's selling the stuff, must be first found, and you, the players, have to obviously look around the map to find him in the first place. Well, and I tell you one thing, that won't be easy. Not only because the map is pretty large, it's also pretty hard to know where he right now is, considering, yeah, it has so many places to look at. And I tell you one thing, he will be pretty important, considering the last thing you want to do is trying to search for specific stuff where you can buy it in the shop much more easier. So it just is a lifesaver for you. Because I tell you one thing, this game will be pretty unforgiving. And now let's move on to the last two buildings in the game, and yes, these are two buildings. The center and storage, or how I would call it the center storage, is right here. It's a pretty unique building because it has the most unique functions to it. What's simply a storage and a center. And they're again just pretty large building, not hard to miss, and really much pretty large. Considering that the center part is the main defensive part and the storage is, yeah, well, the storage obviously, what did you expect? But I will talk separately about them, so we start with the center or the defensive section of the building. This building jumps into action if enemies somehow breach your gates or walls and come inside the building. It's for the players a last retreat place to close the door and protect yourself. Basically like a last stand building for slowing down the enemy and fend them off one last time. Obviously the enemies will try to breach in the door to get you and kill you, and you can kind of shoot down at them from the rooftop of the building. That's also a little bit on the storage side, because if you didn't know or didn't saw already, the ladder here in the storage can lead you right up to the rooftop for another way. But be aware, the last thing you want to have is that the enemies use the ladder. And yes, the enemies will be using this ladder to attack you from above, so you need to keep an eye on it. Because the last thing you really want to do is sitting upwards looking down at the enemy and just realizing that there's someone came behind you. And obviously that will be a pretty ugly surprise for you if suddenly are backstabbing you. And now let's come to the last building of the game, or the last part of this building. It's the storage. Pretty obvious functions is to store into stuff or these crates that you later use to repair the broken walls. Yes, I think you use crates, these repair crates or something to repair them, and I think better that you have to organize it in a storage rather than randomly throwing them on the ground of the outpost, so play around on them. And the last thing you want to do is like an idiot run around the outpost trying to find these crates only for the enemies to get in because you can fix the gates or walls in time. Well, good luck with that. So I think organization is pretty important in the entire game, so the storage will encourage the players to organize better. And well, finally we are done with the outpost and we can finally move on the other parts of the map that I'm building. Let's move on to the first enemy factions in the game, or their places where they spawn, and the most dangerous faction in the game, most strongest that I will say. So before we move on with the entire outpost that I built it for them, and before we go into the map stuff that I again didn't recorded much of it for some reason except with the other parts, but let's talk a little bit about them. The heretics are a faction of people that pray weapons as gods and believe that everyone that doesn't do it must be their souls cleansed, and basically it says to kill them. So yeah, they are just basically the main bad enemy faction. So yeah, the main antagonist I would say, considering they won't be merciless and will have no hesitation trying to kill you. Well, the heretics will have a pretty large law on them, and I will talk a lot about them in my game and reference them, so you have a lot of things to know about them. But for now, let's move on to the map building of the entire part, am I right? So before I waste much more time of you, let's start already with the map and tell you where it's located. The Heretics Outpost is located at this specific part of the map at the left corner, and it's close to the destroyed village, and the mines will make them a basic threat there. So, for some bizarre reason, and I don't know why, the footage that I recorded in Roblox I cannot use in DaVinci Resolve, the video editing app that I'm using, and I have to really, I don't know why, it doesn't work. I tried everything and it just doesn't want to show me the footage that I want to. So well, I have to literally use OBS Studio to record how I record or watch my recording of the entire game from now on. But yeah, that will literally show you what I all did and will prove a little bit. So as you can see here, I made a little cool gate where these moving parts are at, and considering it, I finished it off, and if it's completely in the game that I'm gonna show you right here, it's simply all the mods moving up and down, which should give them a little bit cool effect. For some reason at this point my game loaded for long, but now you can see it much more quite simply. It does look good and I think it fits their theme. And well, let's say I gonna improve on this, like you have to destroy some sort of, I don't know, crystal so the gates open for you, you can enter to fight the boss, and yes, inside of that entire thing will be a boss fight. But yeah, other than that, I had for some reason really little recording. The only recordings I had was this gate and me placing these lamps on the outpost so you have a little bit of light to see something. I don't know, I had the feeling I recorded much more than this, like the walls that I built, the entire union parts, the holes that I made so people can walk upwards in the entire stuff, the entire thing I prepared. I don't know why, but it's way too little recording for what I can remember. I really did remember I recorded much more than this, and I kind of don't know. Maybe I lost it, maybe it's got corrupted. I have no clue where it went. But yeah, from now on, this is all what I have to show to you, and well, yeah, this is just me placing lanterns. It's pretty boring and nothing else. Well, from now on, you have a better look on the outpost, kinda show that it lacks a little bit detail. I'm gonna add much more in later on. Here I think I'm gonna place this crystal outpost so you can shoot it to destroy it. And yeah, I have to build their tents and everything, and the entire thing, location, and well, the heretics are pretty unique. Because if you consider it, they are the only ones that have connection to the sea, because behind that castle is literally an ocean. What right now you can see, because there's a literal, it just gets cut off, obviously you can see it right there. But yeah, the heretics most partly will start patrols out here and will become a great havoc for players and the other factions that they're gonna attack and fight them, especially the bandits in the destroyed village, because they are most probably the primary targets for some reason. Considering that the heretics always tried in the lore to take this village, well, they failed, the bandits succeeded and the villagers escaped. Now the heretics are pretty stupid, considering they are really fanatic of what they believe, and they tell one thing, gonna fight to the death rather than run away. And tell one thing, if I think about that, the entire heretic will be a great enemy for the game to be a face-off and a challenge for the players. And now that's it. I'm gonna add more details in the future, and I think that's it for the outpost, and we're gonna move on to the next part of the game, the creepy part, I would say. The corrupted forest, one of the most dangerous areas in the game to go alone, so it's preferred to go with multiple players. The corrupt forest was the result of the demon incursion that began. The other faction that controls the, let's say, healthy part of the forest tries to fight them and counterweight their aggression, let's say. Considering it, the forest area that's corrupted is pretty large but has little to offer. The reason is pretty simple. I don't know how the entire game would work with AI and the entire looting system. I will gonna add in something later on if everything is perfectly. However, for now on, I just have to scratch my head and wait what the results are from the AI. So from now on, let's continue on to the other faction of the game, the most interesting one and of them all. And the area they control is the obvious. The Forest of Light, a little magical forest where its inhabitants are pretty, let's say, peaceful for now if you don't provoke them. I call them the non-humans, and yes, they're non-humans in game. They're pretty unique considering they are the only literally non-humans. If you ask why I added them, I made them so they have to use special powers against you to give the player a little unique challenge in the fight, so it's not always the same combat with blades. They're usually larger than humans, let's say, and have like multiple limbs. Others obviously differentiate from each other considering I would say like an alliance of many of them, and most probably unite against the demon threat. Why they don't unite with the humans, you might ask? Why? Well, I gonna tell it in my video where I directly talk about the entire faction, the lore a little bit. For now, you have to wait. I have a pretty obvious explanation why the humans and the non-humans are separate from each other. But now let's move on to the forest that I built for them and the entire thing that I literally built for the last couple of months. So well, the areas are pretty large, ignoring the corrupted area obviously because there's nothing there. There are mainly 6 areas. Yes, 6, and maybe a small one over there like a little patrol post, but this is really unimportant. And oh man, it took a long time to build all of this. So I think we're gonna start with the first obvious let's say place. Something you have to know before I move on: everything I built in this place was made by me, and we're gonna start with the first one. The main place is basically some sort of, I would say, the capital of the entire, let's say, forest area of this part. Considering it's the largest of them all and the most unique one. There's also the statue that I have in the other 2. I will also make them in the heretics, but I literally, and I mean literally, took it from this village statue, then literally speedrunned everything to build their statue, and well, let's say it changes pretty much differently from what I built, considering that, well, as you can see, it will be different than the actual one that I built it in the end, or what the end result is. I think you already saw it by now. As you already seen by the final version, and yeah, I took a long time building the statue for some reason, and how heavily speeded up I videoed that. And you might also ask yourself, wait a second, why do you have a cross? Are they Christians as well? Yes, I have entire lore about that as well. So yeah, and I literally have an entire large lore built around it, how that happened. So I'm gonna explain that in a complete another video where I again explain the lore about all of the factions. And for the most part I worked here, I literally built the walls and everything for the defense and everything, like the defensive part, barracks and that stuff. Well, it took again a lot of time of building, and I actually planned it out all by myself. I didn't use like 2 box models and everything. I really tried to make this game original so that as much as possible is built by me and only by me. Well, considering this is the price you have to pay as a solo dev, considering you have to work everything alone. However, if you're disciplined and know what you're doing and everything planned out already, then it won't take long and you know what you're doing. Well, I think you get the point, you are pretty much planned out. And I tell one thing, everything here that I made was made by me and no one else, except that one buddy what my friend did, but this is the only thing that he did and nothing else. Well, considering it, I literally here built some few houses with their few unique interiors, other flowers that they have. Like, literally, they have their own unique interiors. I shuffled them around a little bit. I literally just took the interior and shuffled them around like some card of decks, and yeah, it makes beautifully. I literally made bookshelves. I literally sorted everything out into multiple bookshelves, like one that the books all completely are organized, one that aren't really organized, the others are weird. One has a Bible in it. You can guess the point. I literally shuffled around everything, so everything is unique in its own way. And here, as you can see, I made some sort of medical bay, I would say. I actually took my time to... It's like a little hospital, but in their unique style. It's just pretty simply built. I just didn't want it to place very much build effort in it. Like, there's a bunch of beds and everything. Okay, I did actually place more effort than I just said right there, but yeah, I really try to make this game having more detail. Like, I really am such a guy that pretty watches on detail, and well, considering looking at the entire medical bay, it turned out later to be pretty good. Like, yeah, it just will fulfill its purpose in the game, and I think I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Actually, before that, I want to show you other places that I built in the game here. Like you can see again the middle bay, a little shop, and the walls again, so a little wrong side how it all looks, a couple of barracks, and the statue again, so you have a little oversight. But now we're gonna start with the next area of the game, let's say. The Western Camp. It's a little military outpost right here in the obvious western or southwest of the entire thing. And well, let's say its purpose is just basically to guard everything. I to most partly built the entire thing via the walls. I just reused it, built also the barracks here. Actually at this point I built the barracks and these like things to these kind of barricade things, as you can see here. I thought out that this area will be some sort of safe place for the players and everything, so you feel obviously safe from the entire threats that encountered in the cursed forest. And well, yeah, it's just a safe area. I just started building it. I just then decided on make it also a little headquarter. I made in this headquarter building I had a map, but this entire map was drawn on paint again. But I tell you one thing, doesn't look that great obviously. And yeah, well, I at least try to make it much more that you know where you are or anything, so you don't get completely lost. I also made again these map signs. I think I already said that, but yeah, these signs where you can orient around the map. In the end it looked something like this, and I think it fits perfectly. And this is the end result of the entire Western Outpost. It looks pretty great, has a little medical bay, the headquarters you can see right here, a little eating place for the entire soldiers and everything that's stationed here, and well, it looks pretty good, and I say it's all done by now. Oh man, I just realized how long this video has already been going and how much I have to still can show you what I all did, but before that video goes even longer than what it is now, I think it's 22 minutes or something. I think I'm gonna rush that pretty quickly to speedrun a little bit. So yeah, I gonna quickly talk about everything really quickly. So as you can see here, you see this small little patrol post right in front of the spawning sign to control where people are going, everything. Here's a little wall line. I think gonna extend it much more larger. Well, that like I think I push it even in front. There's a little village behind it, I guess, again. And here you have the supply route. It's nothing really much. I at first planned to build it larger, but it kind of messed up. So yeah, I'm gonna make it future. And here's some of these living places. It's also not that something full of detail. It's just a bunch of houses next to each other, but it fulfills its purpose. And I think one of the last thing is the outpost or a little camp, a really little camp that's controlling this part of this forest area. And well, let's say it's also just little bit floating here, just ignore that for a while if I fix that really quickly. But well, I wanted just to say that everything was made by me. I was completely alone. Did it have much more detail if I were in a team? I guess so, but yeah, I just wanted to do everything on my own to challenge myself. So well, it is what it is. So yeah, this is all it. Well, now we're gonna move on to the last area of the game. I think it was the destroyed village. The destroyed village is, I think, the most largest place in the map, and it's all in the center obviously, so it's absolutely not to miss. I actually shrank it down a lot because in the previous version I saw already it was pretty large. And well, I just show you a little bit around what I did here, like everything what I built. I wish I could show you any footage of it how I did it, but yeah, to shorten us this video I just show you everything. I showed just a small house, the medium house I call it, one that's burning, this one's not burning, and yeah, there's the center where I gonna add a little secret in. And yeah, here's a little shop, a little tavern, so the town doesn't look empty. And this is the type of thing village it was. Basically I just gave it every detail possible. I tried to make it look good, and in the end I'm kind of satisfied with it. Everything fits for me, it just is what it is. And I think that's it for this entire video. I maybe think of a part 2, but for now I'm gonna move on to the scripting video for next time. If you actually want the map building to be first, then I'm gonna do that obviously first. But nonetheless, I hope you like and subscribe. It will help me quite a bit. And well, actually, with everything else, I may gonna think to do the scripting part video first before I do the next map building. Well, for now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I thank you very much for watching it, and bye bye.